Hi everybody, how are you doing? Happy Wednesday, it's hump day, woo, holla. What are your plans for this upcoming weekend? Yeah, it's different with COVID, and I would love if you all have some ideas for some family fun activities, especially during this time because it's like everything I come up with is closed. We've been going to the park and we've been taking our son to the skate park, so he's been loving that. The issue right now is that the skate park is so crowded, and so I'm trying to avoid crowds, obviously, and also I don't want my son to get run over at the same time. So it's not just a COVID issue, it's the issue of my 3-year-old getting run over. But that's okay. It's been working for us so far. He hasn't gotten run over. Please just knock on wood and hope for that. But I'd love to hear any other ideas you have that's family oriented for this whole COVID crisis that we're going through. We're gonna get through this. I know we are, and I know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's gonna be quite a while, and I know that our world's definitely gonna change even after we get past this. And to be able to process that and go through that and figure out how to talk with our kids through that transition, it's going to be very different. But I do look forward for the day when we are in the transition, because things will open up more, hopefully. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things just related with children and parenting. I, a few weeks ago, found out I got accepted to the Parent Coaching Institute. It is a parent coaching program that's a year-long certification. A lot of the other ones that I've been looking into were about 2 or 3 months worth of training, and I really wanted to invest my time, my finances, whatever you want to put into that box. I wanted to invest all of that into a program where I felt like I was going to get the most bang for my buck, and I was going to also learn the most, hopefully. And I had heard nothing but good things about this program, and I'm very excited. I'll be starting next month. But something that I wanted to talk about related with children is the activities we do with them, and then the kind of books we read with them. So I really love to find children books where I can have an opportunity to talk with my son about something. For example, that character didn't say something very kind. Is that a kind way to respond? Is that a kind way to talk to people? And we can have that conversation of, would there have been a better approach to that, and the like. And so one of the companies that I absolutely love is Osbourne Books, and the person who is my book guide, Casey Schlavin, I'll tag her in this so that you can find out who she is. But she got me on board with these books, and they are amazing. But I wanted to show you a couple of my favorites and the reason why they're really helping and benefiting our life and my son. And so the first book is called Choose Your Own Journey. It's probably backwards for you all, so sorry about that. But Choose Your Own Journey is basically, they have a few different ones, but this one is for a water adventure. And basically what you do is you see these little tracks, and you have 4 different paths you can choose. You can choose the submarine, the ship, the turtle, or the swimmer. And you just use your finger to trace along and follow whatever path and story you're going with, and then you read along with that story. What I'm really loving about this book in particular is it's very interactive. So, for example, there's a ton of tracings you can do with the finger along with all this chaos going on. So we can talk about that, we can observe that with my son. But my son is a tactile learner, is something I figured out. Like, I've noticed that when I literally put my hand on his hands or help show him, how to manipulate something, how to turn something, how to push something, he learns a lot faster than if I tell him how to. And so I've noticed that he likes to also have control. And so for him to be able to trace his finger, it helps with his wiggles. I have no idea what he's learning in this process, but it's probably helping and benefiting so much. But it really solidifies and emphasizes for me how important it is to find techniques for a tactile learner. And that's something that I just want to constantly improve on. But this is definitely a book for my son for his little wiggles and everything. He feels like he has so much control because he picks the journey through tracing his fingers and following it. Another book that has really tugged at my heart is called Babies Come from Airports. And so it's basically about a family who does the route of adoption, and it's these two boys who are learning about their new baby sister coming from China. But it's just so beautiful that these books from Osbourne are a wonderful, upbeat way to talk about different kinds of topics. And they have another book called All About Feelings, which I'm actually waiting to get. That's one I'm very excited to teach my son about, because we've lately been on this thing about that we can't be sad or angry. Those are things to avoid. And so I'm trying to find healthy ways to introduce that there's no negative or bad emotions. It's an emotion. Let's work through it. Let's address why that's going on and see why you're feeling that way. But it also reminded me, there's parts where it shows little pictures of they're sharing with their mom who's been gone, what they've been up to. They're sharing their favorite pictures, their favorite memories. And it really reminded me of when my in-laws adopted, because they made a little album for our adopted siblings. And so it was really cool to just see something very similar from that in this book. But one of my absolute favorite books that I could not stop talking to you about is called All About Families. And the reason why I am loving this one is because it introduces that families are different, and it introduces that families are different under so many levels and so many reasons. So it can introduce families of color. It can introduce that some families look very similar, some families don't. It introduces adoption. It introduces families that have taken non-traditional routes. It introduces families that are non-traditional. And I really love that, because that's a topic from my upbringing that I get asked a lot, is how are you going to talk to your son about these things? And personally, I think the problem is a lot of times we make these conversations as adults super uncomfortable, and I don't think it has to be that way at all. I think it's honestly simply just looking at a page of something that looks different, something that our society has not really talked about or has not highlighted, and just saying, oh, hey, look, this girl has two mommies, or hey, look, this family is all of different colors because they adopted or because they're Black, and everyone is special and unique, and all families are so beautiful. And so I absolutely love this book. There's also a page that just has different definitions. It talks about what a single parent family looks like. Some couples are married, some couples are not married. Some kids are taken care of by grandparents or aunt or uncles. Some kids are adopted, there's fosters. So it's just got a very beautiful way of introducing differences, changes in family, like when there's a newborn baby, if a couple separates, if a couple divorces. It just talks about all these definitions. It just addresses them so that your child knows what these concepts and ideas are. And again, I really love that, because I know kids are so curious, and hitting with my son turning 3, that is when the curiosity just sparks. There are so many questions where I'm like, wow, we were just throwing a ball out of nowhere, and you ask me about God, or you ask me these deep questions. And so I think it's beautiful that now I have a fun opportunity, a good way to introduce all these ideas where they don't have to be uncomfortable for my son. They don't have to be uncomfortable for me. It's just, that's the way it is. Those are families. They're all different. Families do different things. And so I have found a lot of joy and satisfaction through these books to be able to address different kinds of issues with my son. I look forward for the All About Feelings book to come, and I'm really, really hoping that that will help my son with some of the ideas that he needs to be happy all the time. And if you have any tips for that too, please let me know. I talk with him just about, you know, feelings aren't negative or positive, that it's okay to feel whatever we're feeling, but his little brain's still right there, and that's okay. I understand that's kind of developmental and everything. But again, these are Osbourne books. They're amazing. I could just recommend them for hours, and this live could go on forever. But I just want to say that the person who is my book guide is Casey Schlavin. Again, I will tag her into this story so you can know who she is. I'll put her in the comments so you know what Osbourne book rep I'm talking about. But again, these books are so amazing. And so check them out. Check out Casey's website, contact her, and just ask her about these books. All right, all my love, joy, peace, and abundance to you all. Take care.